Human Rights Act. Julie Gosch, ITN, at the Department of Health.
Two members of the boy band Five are to appear in court in Dublin in the morning after a brawl in a bar there today. A spokesman for the Toppers said that Jay Brown would be charged with assault and public disorder, and Richie Neville is to be charged with public disorder and disturbance of the peace. The two were questioned for a number of hours by police before being released on bail. Christmas shoppers are breaking all records for credit and debit card spending, according to a survey today. The average card holder will get through more than £800, about half of it on presents. Here's Helen Wright.
In Birmingham tonight, the festive shoppers were out in force. With only 4 shopping days until Christmas, consumers are splashing out more than ever before on presents.
We've got a big family. I like to buy nice presents for everybody. And once you're here, you get carried away anyway. You always end up spending more than you should.
Well, I always spend more than I actually plan to. I've probably spent about £100 so far, and it'll probably be about 150 by the time I'm done.
So just how much more will Christmas cost Britain this year? Last year, the average shopper spent £763. That's expected to rise to £833 this Christmas, up £70. And as a nation, we're spending a record £16.8 billion on our debit and credit cards. But with almost a quarter of shoppers relying solely on their plastic, will they pay the price for Christmas generosity in the new year?
About 22-23% have made no special arrangements for Christmas, and these are the people I worry about because they're likely to get themselves into debt and using their credit cards perhaps and paying off in the new year.
Though spending on internet shopping has doubled this Christmas, the bulk of our record-breaking festive purchases are still made here on the high street, and stores are now gearing up for a weekend of frantic last-minute Christmas spending when takings are expected to rocket even further. Though with spending even now forecast 10% higher, it's already a very merry Christmas for retailers. Helen Wright, ITN, in London's West End.
Football now, and Leeds have recruited striker Robbie Keane on loan from Inter Milan in their campaign to unseat Manchester United from the top of the Premiership. Keane will join Leeds until the end of the season, but the loan will automatically become permanent in July next year if Leeds pay Inter £12 million for the 20-year-old Irish international. Some academics from Sydney and Australia reported today that the Queen's English isn't what it was. They say that over the decades her accent has drifted down market. Lawrence McGinty has been listening to the evidence.
Let me begin by saying...
This is how the Queen sounded, speaking in South Africa on her 21st birthday back in 1947.
My parents, my sister and I have been taken to the heart of their people and made to feel that we are just as much at home here as if we had lived among them all our lives.
Compare her voice 53 years later, giving her annual speech to Parliament.
My government is committed to making devolution in Scotland and Wales work, and to continue the process of decentralising government.
Scientists acoustically analyse how the Queen pronounces vowel sounds and say she's much less posh than she used to be.
Get a present out the way!
In fact, they say her speech has been indirectly influenced by the Cockney accent.
I think she talks lovely English, our Queen. She doesn't talk like us, does she?
No one is seriously suggesting that the Queen talks Cockney. What the Australian researchers are saying is that her pronunciation has evolved over the years, and that nowadays her speech patterns are much closer to those of her subjects than they used to be. But it'll still be some time yet before she asks for a cuppa. Lawrence McGinty, ITN.
And the headlines again, a ban on hunting in England and Wales came nearer tonight when MPs voted by a big majority to give the government bill a second reading. The Home Secretary, Jack Straw, said he was not in favour of an outright ban, and a family doctor has been jailed for 4 years for a string of indecent assaults against his women patients. Tonight's financial figures, and the FTSE 100 share index closed 118 points lower. On Wall Street, the Dow Jones fell 265 points, or 2.5%. The Nasdaq high-tech share market was down 7% to a 21-month low, and the pound is trading just over 0.5% higher against the dollar. And now time for a look at tomorrow's papers. And the Times leads on the hunting story. It went to press before tonight's Commons vote, but says Jack Straw's decision to oppose an outright ban was a victory for hunt supporters. It pictures 2 British travellers who've been released in Colombia after being held captive by guerrillas for 9 months. The Telegraph also leads on straws with treat over hunting. It carries a picture of a young pro-hunting demonstrator. The Financial Times says Brussels is set to approve a £40 million aid package to Nissan Motors' Sunderland plant, providing a much-needed boost to British car making. The Sun reports that film director Guy Ritchie plans to go native when he marries Madonna in Scotland. It says he'll be dressed in a kilt, and as tradition dictates, he'll be wearing nothing beneath his tartan. And the Mirror carries a full-page picture of the TV presenter Zoe Ball and her DJ husband, Fatboy Slim, proudly presenting their new son, Woody. And that's the news tonight. The ITV Evening News is at 6:30 tomorrow. I'll be here again at 11. From the ITV Nightly News team, good night.
Hello, good evening. Well, the good news is we've now seen the last of the wet weather and it should remain completely dry over the next 2 to 3 days. The reason why we have high pressure in charge dominating the scene in Europe is indicated here by our Met Office wind flow chart. And what we have is air circulating clockwise around that high pressure, translating into freezing weather there for Eastern Europe, but mild southerly winds for us here in the UK. And if we look ahead to the beginning of the weekend to Friday, we see basically it's more the same. We maintain these mild southerly winds. Back to the moment at hand, and a lot of cloud around, some bits and pieces of drizzle in the far north and west, distant fog patches later on. Temperatures no lower than around 4 degrees. So into tomorrow on a rather misty note, all's not lost with some glimmers of sunshine, especially later on by afternoon, and especially in places sheltered from that southeasterly breeze. Temperatures are still looking mild, 9 is the high, 48 in Fahrenheit. A quick look ahead now to Friday's weather, basically more of the same. We maintain that dry theme. West is best as far as sunshine goes. And once again, we've got temperature of a high of 9 or 48 in Fahrenheit. That's all from me.
Power, James. Power, whatever